Welcome back to the Playing with Purpose podcast. I'm Ryan O'Callahan, Executive Director of the New York Video Game Critics Circle. Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to give a quick update on some things that have been going on here at the Circle. As of this recording, we've just returned from the Games for Change Festival, where our founder, Harold Goldberg, hosted a powerful fireside chat with Drew McCrory of Blizzard Entertainment, diving into accessibility in games. Harold also took to the main stage with Eric Monticelli from Marvel Games for a conversation about why mentorship is essential in shaping the future of the games industry, something that's a core value of what we do here at the Circle. We also just wrapped another really exciting semester of Playing with Purpose classes, mentoring students across New York City in journalism and narrative writing. We are also going to be posting some of that work up on our NYVGCC.com in tandem with some great work that's been continuing to come out from our incredible interns. Also, we'll be returning to the Long Island Retro Expo this August. Stay tuned for more details on what we'll be bringing to that show. Be sure to follow NYVGCC across social media or to check in on nygamecritics.com for any and all updates. Now, for today's episode, this week, Harold will be sitting down with Clinton Sparks, DJ, entrepreneur, and now the visionary behind the Global Gaming League. Clinton is here to talk about launching GGL and how the league is bringing the world of gaming, music, and culture together. The first preseason episode of GGL will be Saturday, June 28th, and you can find that on GGL's YouTube channel, which will feature T-Pain and Bryce Hall in a showdown that will include Tekken, Call of Duty, and Tetris. And that's just the start. The first competition of Season 0 will be kicking off sometime this summer, so please be sure to check in for more updates and to tune in on June 28th for some exciting announcements. But for now, let's jump into the interview with Harold and Clinton Sparks.
Hey folks, this is Harold Goldberg, the president and founder of New York Video Game Critics Circle and the New York Game Awards, and the music critic, we were just talking about music here, Clinton, and the video game critic.
Well, who you were for a minute.
That's right. It took me back, and video game critic for the New York Times. So I am so stoked to talk to Clinton Sparks today, because not only is he starting the Global Gaming League, which we'll get to, but he has a really cool history in music and as a producer and the like. So, folks, I just wanted to introduce you to Clinton Sparks, man. He's the CEO of GGL, and Clinton, I want to begin. I can commiserate a little with your background is in that I used to be a music critic and a very occasional radio host. So I want to ask you what your time in radio has been like. Like, what have been the ups and downs of that?
You said my radio career?
Yeah.
Man, so I mean, I made my bones in radio. That's where I became popular and made a lot of big relationships that still exist today. But to give it's a long story, but I'll just give the quick snapshot. I was friends with the local DJ at the big radio station in my city back in Boston. And at the time I was a music producer and an artist. And I wanted to get my music off and be an artist. So I'd hang out with him and I'd do things to help him make his show better, adding value to him, hoping that he would play my music, and he would. And then he would tell music executives about me, and I would hear the music executives say, yeah, that's cool. You got a friend named Clinton, but hey, are you playing my record? So the more I heard that, I was like, oh man, if I become a DJ, they'll want to be my friend. And at the very least, I'll get a courtesy listen. So I started, that's what made me start pursuing being a DJ, which was never my goal. So I became a DJ and I got my first syndicated radio show on 22 markets around the world. And in fact, it was a several year stint that I was live in 4 stations in 4 states every week. I'll be in Boston, New York, Connecticut, and Baltimore. So I'd fly and drive for 3 years. And the reason I did that is because I knew if I cornered a region in a market, when they start doing promo runs for artists, record labels, when they're going to promote an album, they take an artist and they bring them to all the big markets and stations. So I knew, like, if Pharrell was going to go do a run for his show, he's going to go to Boston, Connecticut, New York, and Baltimore. So if you see this guy 3-4 times in 1 week, you know our industry, that's your boy now. You know what I mean? So like,
exactly. Yeah.
So now we're buddies, but also it's advantageous for him to be my friend because I have such a region locked down on radio that I can break your music and promote your product.
And that's a very strong region as well, right? It's you know, it is make or break with artists in this region, a few others. But so where were you in New York?
I was on Shade 45, Eminem's Shade 45 on Sirius XM.
Cool.
So yeah, I helped grow that station, brought a bunch of people there, and kind of set a lot of trends at that station. It was kind of like the hip hop Howard Stern at the time when I launched on. I just borrowed some stuff from Howard Stern that I knew that, you know, hip hop culture wasn't totally familiar with. It started doing a little bit over the top stuff. Like I remember I had an intern and we like had some strippers come in and like thank him for his service and stuff. It was funny because we all the other channels used to like watch the glass. They'd be at the glass watching my show. And I remember distinctly one guy helped put a sign on the glass and it said, "This is the best show on Sirius." So they had to get curtains because of me, and those curtains still exist at Shade 45 now.
So it's still there, right? So you became a songwriter, and everyone was doing your songs, and a producer as well. Can you talk a little bit about who you produced and what that was like?
Yeah, so fortunately I'm a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum producer and songwriter. I've sold over 80 million records. I've worked with everybody from Eminem to Kanye to Rick Ross, Big Sean, T.I., 2 Chainz, Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, Pitbull, T.I., Beyonce, Lady Gaga, and so on and so forth. So I've had a pretty successful career, and like, look at the radio angle that I positioned myself to have the strength there and be a value add to everybody gave me the accessibility to then shop beats or be connected to A&Rs and managers that when I'm producing music, hey, I made a record for Rihanna, check it out. So that was almost every business I ever built, I've built it very intentional, and I know how to strategically put things in place so that it helps continuously level up the other thing.
Man, well, what about Lady Gaga too? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so it's exciting because a record I made 11 years ago, it just became a viral hit last year. It's called Bloody Mary. So if you remember, dance, dance, dance with my hands, hands, hands. So I made that record for the Born This Way album, and I got a Grammy nomination for that. But it's amazing how things, you know, 10, 11, 12 years later become wildly successful. And I was just with Steve Berman, the chairman of Interscope, the other day, and he goes, that song went from making us $200,000 a year to $500,000 a month. So, wow. Yeah, wow. because somebody took the song, sped it up, put it on TikTok, and lined it up with Wednesday's dance sequence in the Netflix show Wednesday.
So that made it super popular once again, right?
Yeah, and now I have my wife call me because last Halloween it was on every Halloween playlist. She was like, "Oh my God, you have a holiday song. You're like Mariah Carey now." And I was like, "Yes, every Halloween the sales are gonna bump up."
That's cool because I mean, there's nothing like I love Halloween, man. Like I said, it's a good way to remember it with a hit song. Yeah. As regarding esports, I read a cover story for Playboy magazine maybe about a decade ago on League of Legends and Cloud9, and I got to go around the world to follow the best esports players in League of Legends esports, and this story became a book, and I saw the ups and downs, not only of competitions, but also behind the scenes. When you got into esports with FaZe Clan, it was still a little like a Wild West World of Games competition. What do you remember about that? Like, what were the ups and downs, the highs and lows for you at that time?
Well, I didn't really feel any lows because when I go in to build something, I have a specific focus and plan, and I don't really care what's happening outside of that or what people think about my plan, because I have enough experience in understanding of how to build something correctly. And not to say I could never get it wrong, but like I vet a lot of things out and I'm like, okay, now that I have a full understanding, it's like architecting a house. And now you know what materials to go buy to build the house to be exactly what the architecture is. So that's what I kind of do with businesses. And when I went to FaZe, I didn't know anything about esports, as most people didn't and still don't. I just went there and I just knew there was a bunch of popular kids that had a huge following. They had no business model, no revenue drivers. They were just popular. So we went there and I remember when they called me and said, hey, we want you to be part of this company. We're going to stand this company up. We want you to be involved. I remember saying, well, let me just check it out for a couple of days first. And I just sat in the office and I watched. And I remember saying, are all the decisions reliant on that person? And they said no. And I said, okay, then I'm in. And I won't say who the person was, but if that person was going to make the decisions, it wasn't going to work. So I went there, helped stand up that company. And then, well, most people are really psyched and high on the potential of what esports could become. I was much more focused on building a gaming lifestyle brand, because from that little experience, I recognized that esports was disconnected from mainstream pop culture in the streets. However, everybody games. So I was focused on how do I pull in everybody? How do I connect cultures? How do I make gaming either something that people care about that don't care about it yet? And then how do I add more cool factor to it, to those, because gaming is cool, but a lot of people look at gaming as like a waste of time or for nerds or for young like boys. And like, it's like, man, there's so much more to this. Like gamers are way bigger than what most people give them credit for. And they are just as powerful and relevant and matter as much as any other athlete or sport or anybody, period. Meaning the same kid that plays video games also listens to Spotify, also watches Netflix, also cares about a new sneaker drop, goes to concerts, goes to Complex, Comic-Con, like all these things. And I think people would dismiss gamers as what I just said. And they wouldn't look at them as that, invite them as that, or consider them, or think about building anything around them or for them that was cool, if you will. Right. So, you know,
we always knew, I always knew they were cool. I mean, even nerds are cool, right, in their way. So,
sure.
So it's, you know,
by the way, just let me clarify cool. Cool to me is everything. Like whatever somebody's being original, doing what you love, loving what you do, and just being like, I don't care if somebody hates on me and doesn't like it, that's cool, right? Whether you're a nerd or you're a jock or whatever. What I meant by cool in that definition, just so we're clear, because it's not my definition, what I meant is from the kind of mass appeal acceptance or definition of what they deem to be cool, is what I meant.
Yeah, and cool is from within, right? There's this like, you can't buy cool. It just is, it's like each individual person, when they know themselves, they're cool.
What's the first thing that I said when you turned on this camera?
I forgot already, right?
I said sick shirt.
Oh, that's right.
Because that shirt was cool. That shirt is cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Cool is subjective. Do you know what I'm saying? Decent people that are kind and nice, that some of those that are motivated, that's cool. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, I'm not someone that's like, oh, he made a lot of money, or he's super successful, or they're good looking, and like, there's different levels of cool. To me, cool is just a good human being. That's cool.
Amen to that, man. I appreciate that. So why an esports league now, right? What is it that got you interested, that got T-Pain interested at this point in time?
Yeah, sure. So it's something I've had on my mind since I was at FaZe, because when I got really involved. Like I've always been into gaming. I'm actually in games. I'm in Saints Row. I'm in Scarface. I'm in DJ Hero 2, right? But like, so I've always been connected and a fan of gaming, but I didn't understand esports until I got to it. When I got there, then I realized what's missing, what could be fixed, what's needed, what mistakes were being made. And I'm like, man, it's the fastest growing form of entertainment in the world. But like I said, it's completely disconnected from mainstream pop culture and definitely the streets. But yet we all games, whether it's T-Pain or Ben Affleck or Snoop Dogg or Terry Crews, Jonas Brothers, Jessica Alba, Michelle Rodriguez, everybody games. But none of them are quitting their day job to join an esports org. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and most people, average people don't know what esports is, don't follow it, don't know any players, there's no storylines, they don't understand the games, and most people don't have a Twitch account to even stumble upon it by accident to even be curious about it. So it's like, how can something be this big, globally accepted and respected in a lot of ways, makes as much hundreds of billions of dollars, has billions of gamers around the world, yet it's either not even recognized or dismissed as a waste of time or just for young kids, when we both know the average gamer is 35 years old. So how do you create something that brings everybody together, uplifts the entire industry, gives investors a meaningful thing to invest in with an ROI, gives the biggest brands around the world to now actually connect with and talk to billions of people that they're not talking to and get an ROI? How do I help the publishers build their IP and build more community and attract more people to want to play their games? How do I help gamers be considered as legitimate athletes and look at gaming as a sport? And then how do I help all of my celebrity friends and executives who love gaming be connected to it authentically, where they can make money, build businesses, compete, and all the stuff that you would typically do with another sports industry? So these are all the things that I was thinking about when I'm like, surely someone's going to come up with this soon. That's when I was at phase. And then I'm like, it's not happening. And I'll speak at the biggest gaming conferences, and I'll just hear everybody trying to push this esports circle into a cultural square. And it'll never work. And you can't stand for culture if you never stood in culture, right? And like
that's leads to my next question. So there was a time when it was all the thing on ESPN, and then it wasn't anymore. So what do you think that they did wrong?
I think that people were really excited about esports, so everyone would jump on it. Even people that didn't know anything about it, they would hear, this is the next big thing. Just like pickleball or everything else that comes in, everyone's like, I gotta get involved, right? So I mean, it's every trend, right? The right person says it, all of a sudden everybody wants to chase it. So I think that's what happened before it was fully developed, understood, and accepted, right? So it's like, yeah, you know, whether it's Drake, you know, announcement that Drake's part of the investment for 100 Thieves, or it's Rick Fox or Shaq investing in an esports org, or like whatever it is, again, that still wasn't attracting the mainstream or giving it mass appeal. It was them jumping on the hype of what esports could be potentially. And I think the reason why a lot of it fell off is because it was in fact just hype as it relates to being something that could be as big as we all hoped it could be and what people would invest it for it to become. And again, it just goes back to, there's no mainstream relatability, connectability. There's nothing that attracts people there. If you're not a gamer, first off, you don't care. If you don't know anybody that's gaming, you don't care. If you don't play any of those games, which most esports games aren't, you know, created for mass market, you don't care. If you don't have a Twitch account, which most average person doesn't, you don't care. So there's like so many barriers to even get people to care in the first place.
So how do you get people to care?
That's exactly what the Global Gaming League does. You converge gaming, music, fashion, sports, celebrity, rivalry, competition all together. Now that sounds great, and it may even sound easy when you just hear me say it. The problem is it's not that easy. And as we've shown and proved over the past decade, people have tried and it didn't work, because you have to be authentic. I align gaming with hip hop. Gaming is where hip hop once was, meaning it was for the purists, it was for the real people, like it was our thing, right? And we don't want outsiders coming in and bastardizing this. You got to keep it real, right? And we can sniff when you're not real and you're just trying to like take over this and bring some celebrities and make some money off us and then ruin it for all of us that love it with a passion. That's where gaming is, and that's where hip hop was at one point, right? But it takes the right people to come and nurture it organically and authentically to grow it without ruining the authenticity, without bastardizing it, without insulting it or disrespecting it, right? The gamers and the industry itself. So when you can bring all these things together, it's rare that you're going to find somebody that understands and had success in gaming, in entertainment, in marketing, in business, understands psychology, actually has a heart, right? And like, can speak with, authority, but with sincerity. So I just so happen to be someone that is fortunate because of the many lives I've lived and the experience I've had, that I know how to bring all these worlds together with meaning and, with purity. And it's not
we have a nonprofit that is called Playing with Purpose. So we go to Bronx schools, we teach kids how to write, whether it's reviews or narrative, how to make games. And the reason it works is kind of exactly what you're talking about. We find students that don't want to put pen to paper or are really quiet in other classes. Once you mention games to them, that's like the key to success. They really want to. It's not that they're dumb. It's some of the curriculum is dumb.
Yeah.
Right. So if you come with, well, like to a kid that's kind of shy, doesn't really communicate, but we say, well, what game do you like? Why do you like that? And then you'll start a conversation with someone else. Well, that game sucks. That game doesn't suck. Well, don't tell me it sucks. Tell me why you don't like it. Mm-hmm. And, we see kids shine with not only in classes, but when we take them on, we'll be able to place them in the world of games. If in a few years, if they go to college, maybe some don't go to college, we can still place them. But that cultural significance of it as like a new hip hop really does resonate with me.
Well, it's also, it is the future. It's now. And it's weird how so many people overlook it and don't understand the value within it, both from entertainment and education. And the thing that really excites me the most, like, look, Harold, it's not hard for me to turn a company and to be very successful financially. That's not what drives me every morning when I wake up. That's not why I'm so passionate about this and why I'm excited. The reason why I'm super pumped every day and everyone's like, when do you sleep? It's like, I don't have time to sleep. I'm trying to build something that involves everybody. If it doesn't involve everybody, it doesn't involve me. I don't want to be a part of it. So when I look at what this can do and what we can do with the Global Gaming League, we're connecting cultures. We're building international bridges. We're uplifting underserved communities. The fact that we play everything from Call of Duty and Rocket League to Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Tetris and Street Fighter, you're closing age gaps. So now you're bringing families together. You got a dad now that walks by and you're playing Donkey Kong. It's like, oh man, what do you know about this? Like now you get him engaged. He wants to watch. He wants to participate. And that's what this league does, is it brings all these people together in a way that nothing else. I mean, music, we're both from music backgrounds. The one universal thing is music, right? But even that's segregated, whether you got country or reggae or hip hop or rock or whatever. Gaming is truly, in my opinion, the only global thing, besides eating and breathing and drinking, but it's like the only global thing that like really brings people together. Like nothing, your race, religion, region, nothing matters. Are you trash or are you fire? That's all that matters.
Right.
But then even on top of that, it's the community that's so special. Like even our community that we've built, in just the past 3 months, we've got over 250,000 people signed up. We have 135,000 on Facebook, like almost 100 on Instagram and 16,000 on YouTube. And that's hardly even trying. But the community is so engaged and they're so like, when I jump in the Discord and I just see people in there giving each other game on their job or life, it's not even just about gaming. Gaming brings people together in a way that nothing else brings people together. Even when you go to a regular sport, you're watching the sport, right? And you're engaged in that thing. Gaming is, you're talking to the person you're playing with. Football players aren't talking to each other on the field and like learning shit and giving each other information in game and understanding cultures. Gaming, you're teaching each other stuff. You're learning, you're building friendships, camaraderie. You're learning all the talking points we know, strategy, leadership, critical thinking. But it's like, I don't think people get it outside of our world as much as they should. And you need something like the Global Gaming League that brings it to culture and parents in a unique, modern way that now they're being introduced and indoctrinated differently than just, you have to just understand gaming.
So you'd give Pac-Man as much respect as Call of Duty in a sense.
100%. Yeah, and it's the first league where you can have a 17, 27, 37, 47-year-old on the same team because they all have different skill sets to play these different games. So it's like family entertainment. Look, my intention is to give you an idea for people that are watching what the Global Gaming League is. It's a league of celebrity-owned teams that can, for example, as I'm talking to you, Mark Wahlberg just sent me a text, if you can see that, right? Just sent me a text about this. It's a league of celebrity, and I bring that up because it's about the league, not that I know Mark. But it's a league of celebrity-owned teams that compete in live events here in Las Vegas at our 43,000 square foot facility, playing everything from new games to old games, everything in between. And look at us like a mix between NFL meets WWE meets UFC, meaning the professionalism and the structure of traditional competitive leagues like the NFL, the pageantry, theatrics, storylines, and smack talking like WWE. And much like the UFC, where you'd see two people compete that you otherwise wouldn't see compete. Here is where you would see Shaq's team versus Jessica Alba's team competing against each other. But unlike the NFL example I gave, which is one sport, one season, one region, this is all sports, meaning all game titles. It's all year. And as we know, it's India, Asia, Middle East, Europe, North America, South America, truly the fastest growing form of entertainment because everybody games.
So what is the timeline for rolling it out? Right, you have a location that looks pretty cool from what I've seen, but you've got 250,000 people you say signed up. How does it roll out so people are getting together and playing?
Yeah, so great question. So by the way, that 250 grows, but we have 500 to 1,500 people sign up every day, and that's to be in our draft to join the league. So there's a couple. So how we're rolling out, we launch. I don't know when this is going to air. We haven't announced the launch date yet.
So this is going to air probably just before Memorial Day.
All right, cool. So I don't know if we'll announce it yet, but anyways, July.
Look. Okay, July. So Caitlin, when you get this, can you take this section out so it flows a little better? So when is the actual announcement? So maybe we can tie it to that.
So two things. We've already launched the campus. So we had our big announcement on December 14th, our thing. About a month ago, we announced our $10 million raise.
Yes.
And we announced four of our players, which is Flavor Flav, T-Pain, Ric Flair, and Bryce Hall. So we're going to get ready to start announcing more players. So this part's between me and you. July 12th is when we launch season 0. Unless you'll hold off on this and get closer to that.
I mean, whatever you like. Honestly, we're not doing this for you, but
yeah, totally.
If there's a time when you think it would be best aired, I would, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'll just jump in right when you asked that question.
Yeah,
so we have a lot of things lined up. Like right now, we have some online rivalries brewing between Neo and T-Pain. Today, Snoop Dogg just posted about the Global Gaming League because one of our players and team owners, Gilly and Wallow, were just talking smack to Snoop about beating him in Madden. So Snoop just posted about it. So we're getting the momentum going on right now. We had our first event, which was T-Pain versus Bryce Hall's team, hosted by Nick Cannon and Jermaine Dupri with a halftime show by Soulja Boy, and it was packed here in Vegas. But the great thing about being packed is it was a very eclectic, diverse audience that you wouldn't typically see at a gaming event. We had everybody from Shark Tank investor and Dry Bar founder Ali Webb to 12-time Mr. Olympia Flex Lewis to controversial streamer FouseyTube, right? Like, so as you can see across the gamut. And what was incredible about it is that there was so many people that afterwards like, oh my God, I didn't know like gaming was so much fun and entertaining. Because a lot of people came because of the stars or because of the halftime show. We also did a Paris style fashion runway show. So some people came for the fashion. So people are coming for different reasons. The nucleus is gaming, but you'll come for something else and then you'll get introduced and you'll be like, wow, this isn't, we played Tetris, 2K, Call of Duty, in Tech in 2K, Tetris, Tech, and Call of Duty. Those are the 4 games we played because we're a multi-game league. We have 4 rounds each match. You have 4 players on the team. You can only play 1 player and pick 1 round. So in each round is a different game. So you want to draft people that are well-rounded, but also specific. Like I got my first-person shooter game. I got my sports game player. So you can, when that round comes up, you know who to pick on your team to defend the team in that title. When we did that event, out of those 4 titles, Tekken, Tetris, 2K, Call of Duty, what do you think people were standing on their feet the most for?
Tetris.
Why? Why do you think?
Everyone knows Tetris, right? Everyone loves Tetris.
There you go. So you have to create elements that everybody can connect and relate to. And that's what happened. So now they're going to pay more attention to something else because you gave them something that they already care about. And they're there for that reason. It's like inviting people to your party. If you're having a party where you want to announce something like, let's say it's only important to you, right? And you say, hey, come to my party Saturday. Oh, who's going to be there? I'm going to name this person. I'm going to name that person. Ever since we were kids, we knew how to sell. Like we didn't go to our parents and ask to sleep over our friend's house right after we got in trouble. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to like know the right timing, what people care about. But that starts with actually giving a shit about people, right? So like it starts there. So if you don't even have that within you, you're already at a disadvantage of understanding how to bring people together. I understand how to bring people together because I've been doing it my whole entire career. Even as far back as being in high school, I was the kid that would sit with the jocks, the Puerto Rican kids, the Asian kids, the black kids, the kids downstairs. You don't even know what they're doing until you see them at lunch, right? So I was like, I'm friends with everybody. So I'd sit with these guys and this dude plays D&D. And I'm like, oh, the running back plays that too. But they would have never known that because they don't hang out. So I was the guy that was like, dude, you guys should know each other. And like, I would make people friends that would have never been friends because they were in different social circles. But when you can find that commonality between people, which is what gaming is for a lot of people, then you can build something bigger than life because everybody.
They don't normally, I mean, they can interact online, but in person, they don't often have a community to talk with someone about. So this is great to bring people together. I mean, even in the audience, people can talk about what they like about Tetris or Tekken. Everyone's going to be screaming and yelling about who won in Tekken. I wondered a couple of things about. We talked about our school initiative. But you have strategic partnerships with NYU, like Game Center, I think, and Syracuse. What exactly does a strategic partnership mean in this case?
It means developing curriculums together. It means a path for people that are part of our academy. Here at our 43,000 square foot facility, we also built out an academy. What that academy is for is not just for people to come game and become better gamers and practice and run scrims and tournaments. It's also to teach people all of the other business aspects about gaming, which most people don't know about. But it's also to teach them business acumen because everything's the same, right? When you understand business and the foundation of going back to being a good human, the foundation is understanding how to network, how to communicate, what follow-up means, self-respect, respecting other people, marketing, branding, values, principles. These are all the things that I've lived my life by. And whenever I speak at conferences or whatever, this is what overcomes any obstacle anybody has. When you build yourself by design, by being a good human being, and you build that, then everything in life, most people think if they build this great thing, that now because they built that great thing, they are now great, right? And it's like, I have always been of the opinion, well, why don't you just focus on building a great you? Because if you build a great you, anything you build is going to be built off of great. So So that, like, it's these kind of principles. You know, we live in a world now too where everybody feels like they got to be famous to become great. But famous doesn't make you great, but great can make you famous. And when you look at, if famous is your goal, then focus on being great. Because guess what? When you do get the fame, which becomes a byproduct of you being great, the fame will never fade because it's built off of something that's you permanently, which is great. So these are the kind of philosophies and teachings we want to teach, not only the talent that plays on the team, but even local to Las Vegas, people that want to fly in and be a part of this, and even our staff and partners that want to be a part of this and go through this.
People don't know about the business, they can get easily ripped off.
100%.
I mean, we've seen that from the beginning of rock and roll, right? We've seen great artists get ripped off. I mean, even in our classes, which are sometimes as young as 12 or 14, when they write something for us, oh, well, you wrote something nice, you edited it, you rewrote it. Give us an invoice now. Here, I'm going to teach you how to do an invoice.
Yeah.
So what is that? I don't want to do that. But that's important to do. You have to know the stuff like that.
How to set up an LLC, what's an EIN, what are tax things, like your DBA, like all these kind of things. But even like, you know, I'm not trying to teach people to be lawyers. That's what lawyers are for. But at least like understand how to build the brand and business of you. But it starts with building a great you. And these are the things that we want to teach in our academy.
You don't have to know the ins and outs, but you have to be aware of certain things, right, in business. And what I was going to ask as well is, you know, we have Reggie Fils-Aimé on our board, the former president of Nintendo America. And I think there's a synergy between some of what you're saying and what Reggie says in his book, Disrupting the Game. How do you want to disrupt esports?
I don't want to disrupt it. I want to enhance it. I want to elevate it, and I want to open it up. I want people to see gaming. And again, like I don't consider the Global Gaming League an esports league. I consider us a gaming, entertainment, and media company. Of course, you could say, well, you guys have competitive gaming, it's esports. Yeah, it maintains the integrity of competition within gaming. But I think, one, that word scares off a lot of people, right? So there's a little bit of a Trojan horse going on, right? Like everybody knows gaming is big. A lot of people know they lost money in esports, and a lot of people look at esports as not working. So if you come in with gaming and entertainment, those things are much bigger. And even during economic downturns, entertainment still prevails. People want to be involved with entertainment. I have success in entertainment and gaming. So when you bring these worlds together, yeah, it's still esports to us that know what esports is because it's competitive gaming. But what we have also done has now made every game competitive. Like it's not just, you know, esports games that are now we're competing in. We're now taking regular games and making competitions like we did back in the day, Harold, at arcades. We would sit there, we put our quarter, we're up next, and all you were like, who's got the high score? Let me beat that dude. You know what I'm saying? So like,
exactly.
You know, that's what it was. So it's like, let's bring back that vibe and that feeling where everybody has it's a level playing field where everybody can become successful in gaming and everybody can participate. And that's what the global game is for. It's for everybody.
So you're going to have, I think, events that are kind of like leaning toward popular art as much as they are games, right? So you have events with people playing games, but as you said, fashion is involved, musicians are involved, celebrities are involved. So it's kind of, you're in a way, you're luring some people in through fashion or music, but they're all there to enjoy games. And if they don't know about games, they're going to just to kind of rehash what you've said. Correct. If they don't know games, they're probably going to like what they see. That's your hope, right?
Correct. No, that I know they will. Because it's awesome. Gaming is awesome. And we all do it, whether it's Fruit Ninja or Candy Crush or crosswords or Monopoly Go or old school games. Like everybody games in some way, shape or form. And those that don't probably older people that think that that was a thing of the past. It's nostalgic to them and they don't think there's room for them. They don't have time to do that now. But the same way, like everybody feels like they can become a brand on the internet. Everyone feels like they can launch an e-commerce store. In the same way, everybody feels like they can make it in hip hop now because it's so accessible. That's the same way with gaming. Just everybody just doesn't know how easy it is to become successful once you put the work in to become good at being a gamer. But again, you don't even have to be the best gamer, just like you don't have to be the best rapper or the best personality on the internet. There's other angles to be successful. You don't have to be you don't have to be a rapper to be in the music business. You don't have to be an actor to be in the movie business. You don't have to be a gamer to be in the business of gaming. But people don't understand that. And I know that for a fact because when I go to my celebrity friends and I tell them what I'm doing, they'll say, oh, my gaming days are past me. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to make you Robert Kraft, not Julian Edelman. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and that's the difference of where I'm approaching it from, giving these high profile talent the prestige of owning a sports franchise in the next biggest league without even having to know how to game. But then the allure of them being a part of it introduces their audience and or even people that game. They're like, oh shit, that's awesome. Kevin Hart's a part of this? That's sick. He cares about gaming. I'll give you one music analogy. Fall Out Boy, you know the band Fall Out Boy?
Yeah.
Of course you do. So Fall Out Boy one day calls me, and I don't know what this is 07, 08, it's probably 08 probably. And they call me and they say, we want to do a mixtape, because at that time I'm one of the biggest mixtape DJs in the world. So they go, we want to do a mixtape. And I was like, first of all, Fall Out Boy knows who I am, right? And then second of all, Fall Out Boy doing a mixtape? Like I'm known as a hip hop guy that does like big hip hop mixtapes. And so I was like, oh my God, this is amazing that they want to do this and they want to do it with me. Okay. And they go, and then by the way, we need it done in 24 hours before we go on tour. So I'm like, holy crap. So then I hang up the phone and I go and I make some tea, which is usually what I do when I need to think. And I'm like, all right, how do I do this? This is a huge opportunity. I can't mess it up. So I was like, what can I do that makes it bigger and reaches a different audience than just the usual people that would probably listen to it anyways because they're Fall Out Boy fans? So I call up Ludacris. I say, hey, you ever heard of Fall Out Boy? Yeah, them white dudes, right? They got a band. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, what's up? And I go, I'm doing a project with them. I need you to be a part of it. Man, why would I be a part of that? What's that got to do with me? I'm like, let me tell you why. Everybody that likes Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy and Fueled by Ramen artists, they all think Ludacris is cool, right? They all know you and they like your music, but you don't talk to them. So they don't even know that you know they exist, right? There's no relationship between you two. If you get on and do the intro to this mixtape, all of those kids that now love Fall Out Boy are going to say, oh shit, Ludacris likes Fall Out Boy? I love him even more now. Right? So now it started attracting a new audience to Ludacris and created a synergy that wouldn't have been created had I not known them to and brought them together. And the caveat was when I delivered the project to Pete and Pat, they flipped out because they're fans of Ludacris and never had the opportunity to meet him and were blown away that they had Ludacris on their project now. So I'm giving that example to show how it's simply putting people together that never have the opportunity. Like we think all famous people know each other. We think all successful and rich people can have access to each other, but like they don't. And that's a misconception we have, thinking that they do. So by bringing people together through gaming, you're bringing worlds together. It gives that Martha Stewart Snoop effect where it's ironic, but it's cool, right? So when you're bringing, let's say you get a faker like now hanging out with Kevin Hart, which would never happen, right? In a way that would have mass consumption. And now people that are friends of Kevin will say, who's that guy? And then they look him up and like, oh my God, this guy's lit.
This guy's famous. Yeah, he's awesome.
Right? And they're like, this guy's cool. So with this league, like I was just on the call with Julie, COO of 100 Thieves yesterday. And I'm like, look, we got to get some of your guys in this league playing on these teams, and they can be representing 100 Thieves. So when people get introduced to them for being on T-Pain's team or, the Kardashians team or whatever team they're playing on, people are going to watch and see how cool they are, look them up and say, who is this guy? Oh, he's part of this other organization called 100 Thieves. Oh, he's won Call of Duty tournament 3 times. This guy seems awesome. Let me look more into him. Now it's attracting people to 100 Thieves, which then's attracting people to their esports team. But you have to build the global gaming league to bring these things together so they can then all go back. It's the bridges to bring them all together. Otherwise, you'd never have a regular Kevin Hart fan ever know or care or inquire who a Faker is, or know what 100 Thieves is, or FaZe Clan.
So, I mean, I know you're busy. I won't keep you that much longer, Clinton. But I'd like to ask, like, how long is, say, to use an old school word, an episode? When people go to Vegas to hang out and watch competition, how long are they there for? What is it? Is it more like a concert, like 3-4 hours, or is it, a shorter amount of time?
Yep. So the event itself, so here's what's awesome about it too. It's a full day event. So look at it like a mini Complex Con meets Comic-Con. Product reveals, meet and greets, performances, food trucks, mini tournaments, all of that stuff is going on right here in Vegas at our campus, all leading up to the main event that night, which is typically about 2.5 hours long, and that includes a halftime show.
That's exciting, man. The full day event is like almost like a mini convention.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got you've got so many things going on. It makes me want to come to Las Vegas and check it out because it seems like in addition to being like cultural, there's an artistic aspect to it. So I like that as well.
Well, I could tell you, when I mentioned a few minutes ago, the artistic strategy, if you will, was I knew that if I brought Gilly to the campus and he talked smack to Snoop about Madden on film, and then I posted it, and then I invited Snoop to collab, I was baiting him. And I knew that baiting would work, and it worked. 3 hours later, Snoop collabed on it. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, it's bringing these worlds together. Like, people are now starting to actually call each other out in the hip hop world in gaming because of this strategy, right? And like, hip hop is one of the biggest cultures and genres that really moves the needle, like from jargon to fashion to all that stuff. So when you get all that involved, and that's what I know best because that's what I am, right? When you bring all that involved and just highlight it in a new way and then connect it to the other world that I am as well. And to be quite honest, Harold, I've done a lot of cool things in my life, but it doesn't mean I'm cool. Meaning, like, I'm not Fonzarelli cool. I'm still like this loser dork from Boston who's had an alcoholic father, single mother, broke, welfare, roaches, molested for 4 years in my house from my mother's boyfriend, was homeless as a teenager. Like, I'm still like this guy who's a misfit and doesn't feel like he fits in, right? No matter what. Again, earlier when I never fit in any social circle, yet I was the most popular kid in school, right? And it's like, I am what most gamers consider themselves to be, which is kind of like a little introverted, a little kind of feel like they don't fit in.
Yeah, a little outside.
Yeah. So it's like, so I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for us. I'm doing it for me. I am them, right? So I get it. But the fortunate thing is I also done a lot of cool shit, so I can bring all the cool stuff in a real way that's not transactional, and it's not twisting anybody's arm. It's literally just informing them, putting a spotlight on it, saying, look how cool this is. And like, oh man, I never knew that. And that's what the Global Gaming League hopefully does for the world.
That sounds great. And I love talking to you. You've got a great gift of gab, man. And it makes you, I mean, I can see why one of the reasons you're successful is there's an optimism that you have that not everyone has, and a vision you have that not everyone has. So I think that's really cool. And I'd love to get you to talk to our kids at some point. I think that would be great.
First of all, thank you for the kind words. Second of all, I love, if I could help every young Clinton, because I didn't have anybody to guide me. I had to figure life out on my own. People ask me all the time, how do you know so much? The streets, Harold. The streets is how I learned, right? So but I will, to the optimism point, I'm going to tell you a funny story real quick. The CEO of FaZe Clan, when I was there, I was constantly battling to try to we need to do this. This is what's good for culture. This is what's going to uplift the brand. One day he comes in my office and he goes, you know what your problem is? So I didn't know I had a problem, but I'd love to hear what you think my problem is. And he goes, you're too optimistic. And I said, oh, you mean like Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, like Jeff Bezos? Like who am I optimistic like? And he's like, no, you're just like, you need somebody to kick the tires more. I'm like, what makes you think I don't kick the tires? Right? He goes, you're really excitable and da-da-da. I go, you know what that is? That's passion behind something that I love doing. And before I bring anything to you or anybody here at this company, I vet it out, I do my research, and I make sure that what I come to isn't my personal opinion. It's not my personal taste. It's facts. I operate on facts. I go, so when I come to you with something, it's not my fault that you're not experienced enough or not willing to listen to someone that got the facts and tell you what the right move is. That's not me being optimistic. That's me being a realist and being someone that knows what they're doing. Maybe you should follow my lead a little bit. So that was, I can't tell you how many times I've had those kind of conversations with my boss at different companies over the years, which is another reason I started Global Gaming League. It's like, I'm building all these other companies for everybody else, and I'm basically the sauce, and they're always blocking and stopping everything cool. So let me just build my own thing where no one's ever going to stop me for caring or making sure everybody's happy. Because if everyone's not happy, I'm not happy. So
that's great, Clinton. And best of luck with Global Gaming League. I think that passion is going to win out over everything ultimately. So good luck with it. I'll be watching, and I'm going to get in touch with you about our kids too.
Yes, please. Is it New York?
It is in New York. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So then when I come to New York, I'll just tell you I'm coming and maybe I can pop in.
That would be awesome. That would be perfect, man.
Thank you, Harold. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, Clinton Sparks, CEO of Global Gaming League. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, and hopefully we'll talk again.
Yeah, no, we are. I'm coming to see the kids.
Yeah.
Plus, by the way, I want to pick your brain because you're a legend and you're a wealth of knowledge. I need some of that. So yes, we're gonna.
I'm always here, man. I'm gonna give you a video game tip as soon as we get off here.
Right. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. At Global Gaming League, all socials.
Great. Thanks so much, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Playing with Purpose podcast. Please be sure to follow NYVGCC on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and across social media at NYVGCC. And if you like the work that we're doing, please go to nygamecritics.com/donate. Thank you.